Melbourne? What brings you here?
I'm here to teach a class, actually, and I guess the people that organized the class somehow found out about this event, and they asked if I was interested, and I said, hell yeah.
Yeah. What class is that?
It's a class, like I do some motivational speaking, so just, using my experiences as a football player and how I had to like overcome obstacles and just helping people, whatever's going on in their life, showing them different tools they can use to overcome obstacles.
So is that mainly for sport, or are you doing it for other things as well?
Well, it started off as sport, and I saw that it actually applied to other areas of life, and so I've started to expand it to all areas of life, really. I mean, it was interesting. At one point in my life, I noticed like I was having so much success on the football field, but like other parts of my life were not so much fun. And so I was like, I wonder if I applied the same kind of things that I did to make me a good football player to my life, if my life would get better, and it did. And so I was like, okay, I could do this.
Yeah, that's good. Especially in relation to this event, we're obviously hosting it for Beyond Blue, which is, I don't know if you've heard of it, it's a charity that raises awareness of depression, panic attacks, that kind of thing. So yeah, definitely.
Well, that's right in my alley.
Yeah. Any advice in that area for any footballers or anyone who's watching who might be struggling to cope in that area?
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is there was a period of my life where I went through this bout with depression, and it was when I was playing football. And kind of what I got out of it is, as a football player, I noticed that people expected me to be a certain way.
Yep.
And so a lot of the depression and the anxiety attacks was because that really had nothing to do with who I really was. And so once I decided that I could be me and be a football player and have both of them, then it started to change really quickly.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So how are you finding Melbourne so far anyway, apart from teaching?
I really love this city. It's very interesting. I was here about 9 years ago. I was my second season in Miami. I just finished, and it was a rough season, and I kind of was like, I just need to get away and have a break. And so I took a globe and I spun the globe and I closed my eyes and put my finger somewhere, and it was Melbourne.
Oh, wow.
And so I actually spent. It was funny. So after the season was over, I waited a week and I hopped on a plane and came to Melbourne, and I spent 2 weeks here.
Yep.
And then I had to go back for the Super Bowl because I had some events, and I had so much fun. As soon as the Super Bowl was over, I hopped on a plane and came back for another month and a half. And so, and it was really a starting point of my life starting to change. So this town, this city is really special to me.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
What would be your favorite part then?
I love the city. I love downtown. I mean, when I came here, it was interesting. I had traveled a little bit, and I had stayed in like 5-star hotels everywhere. And here, I decided to do something a little bit different.
Yep.
So I found this hostel called the Nunnery, and I stayed there. And it was only 2 blocks from the city. And every morning I would wake up and walk into the city, and just people were so nice and so kind, and great restaurants, great bars, great shopping. It's just a really, really cool city.
Yeah. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
So we understand that you're working with Access Consciousness.
Yes.
How did you start with that? Was that during your football career, or was that afterwards?
It was funny. It was I was getting to the end of my football career, and I still had another year on my contract, but I wasn't having as much fun as I was having earlier in my career. And so I was thinking, what else could I do that would be fun for me? And I started asking questions like that, and then Access Consciousness showed up. And so I literally found Access Consciousness a week before I retired from football.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it was like it was meant to be.
It was like it was meant to be, exactly. Yeah.
And so in terms of Gridiron in Australia, we understand you visited the Sunshine Coast. What would you advise to grow the sport in this country? Obviously, we're starting out at the moment, and we've only got a few clubs in Victoria.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of them is kind of self-serving. Is that to bring some retired professional players over, and maybe some coaches to work with the players and kind of show them the game a little bit, like from our perspective, and really to create kind of a pipeline between Australia and the U.S. and starting with the universities. And like I know that in the States, the universities are always looking for new, different talent. And what I saw, the Gridiron team that I saw, the Spartans, that they had a lot of talent on that team. And if the universities in the States could really see what you guys had to offer, I think it could create something different. And I've seen, Aussie players showing up, both in college and actually in the NFL now. So it's fun to watch. And as from an American's perspective, we're really trying to grow the game of Gridiron to make it an international sport. And so I think a lot of colleges, I think even the NFL would be interested in supporting programs to really grow the sport.
That would be great. You don't fancy a job as a coach, do you?
I mean, if my schedule permitted it.
Yeah.
But
hey, life in Melbourne.
Yeah. It's very tempting. Yeah. But at least trips over a couple times a year to do like week camps or clinics would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And really because, when I started playing football, there was already like certain structure about how you play the game and how you do the plays and stuff. And when you come to a place where the game is, it's starting to grow and it's still in the early phases of it, it's like taking, you know, knowledge and being able to like have a big contribution into the way the game is played is very, very appealing to me. I mean, like I was walking over here looking at the playbook and just, you know, just to have access, someone who has access to an NFL playbook to bring it over and, you know, talk to some of the different coaches and kind of show them blocking schemes and kind of talk to them about the way we do things, for me could really help increase the game even more than it's already expanded here.
Absolutely, because I think the love for the sport is here. It's just Royals, I know, started with a couple of guys throwing a ball around, and it's all grown from there. So it definitely helps having that connection. Any advice for any young players or potential players who want to get involved in the sport in terms of, you know, how to go about it? How do you...
Okay, I would say one of the things that's in the States that is occurring now is a lot of young players, they don't really watch the game anymore. And for me, the way I learned to play Gridiron was, as a kid, I would watch games with my mom and I would find my favorite players and I would go outside and I would try to emulate what they did, and they really learned the game from watching it. So I would tell young players to watch as much Gridiron as you possibly can and find your favorite player, like what position they play, and like find a bunch of different players and take different bits and pieces from each of the players you like and see if you can add them to your game to make you even a better player.
Did you grow up with football then in your family?
I didn't grow up with anyone playing in my family, but as a kid in the neighborhood, we would go out in the street and we would get a football. All you needed was 4 people, and you could do 2-on-2 in the street. And so I grew up playing pretty much, you know, 6 months out of the year every day.
And who were your players that you watched and emulated in the backyard?
I loved I was a Chargers fan. I was a Chargers fan growing up in San Diego, and so all the Chargers were my favorite players. And we had a little running back by the name of Little Train James, was a smaller guy, and he played running back, and I always loved the way he played. And then when I got older, we had a Hall of Fame linebacker, Junior Seau, and he just played with so much intensity. And I actually got a chance to play with him in Miami, which was really cool.
So do you still keep an eye on what's happening with the Dolphins?
I do.
Follow what's going on?
I do. There's still half the team were my teammates when I was there, and so, you know, they're friends. So I always watch and support them and wish them the best.
Do you go to the games? Or
Actually, last year it was fun. Last year I went to three NFL games. I went to a Saints game, which I played there. I went to a Miami game, which I played there, and I went to the Super Bowl where the Ravens were playing, and I played for the Ravens. So. And it's so much fun to, you know, having some time away from the game to go back, because you really appreciate it. You really appreciate the game differently after when you're not playing anymore.
And being able to look externally, I guess, as well,
Yeah.
I think that's all I've got. Anyone else? Anything they want to ask? Or anything else you want to promote, I guess, to Gridiron in Victoria?
Well, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you know, I started coming to Australia, like I said, 9 years ago. And it's been interesting to see the Australians' opinion or point of view about Gridiron change. And it's been really fun for me to watch the game grow and expand, and it really creates so much possibility for the future of the sport internationally.
And how has it changed?
Well, before when I first came, you would hear him say that it was a wimpy game because we wore pads. And I think as they've kind of become more open-minded and actually watched the game, they've really got to see that it's really a fun game. And what I got from watching rugby was a lot of the origins. You can tell that our game originated from rugby. And the similarities are really amazing. And one of the things I've been impressed with the Australian players in rugby and in Gridiron is they're really good tacklers. And in the States, that's one of the things coaches will always complain about is in the States, we don't really tackle very well. And so I know, you know, bringing some Aussie players over will really help improve our game.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time. And